from a station working for you. This is WRTV News at 7, streaming now.
And now at 7, multiple shootings that took place over the weekend are under investigation, including 4 that happened on central Indiana highways. Thanks for joining us here at 7. I'm Mark Mullins. At least 12 people were shot between Friday and Sunday night in Indianapolis. One of the most recent shootings happened just before 10 o'clock Sunday night on the city's west side. Police say a man was found dead on Tremont Street near Michigan Street. And Indiana State Police do not believe 4 interstate shootings are related, but they are asking for help in identifying suspects. The most recent happened at 2:30 this morning on northbound I-465 on the city's west side. An 18-year-old man was shot while driving. A bystander took him to the hospital. In another case, one 17-year-old was injured by broken glass during a shooting on I-465 near Emerson. In 2 other cases, shots were fired at vehicles, but no one was hurt. You can read more about all 4 of these cases and what investigators know at WRTV.com. One woman who lost her son to gun violence last month is now speaking with WRTV for the first time. As someone who cares about her community and tries to be involved, this loss is devastating. But she says it is invigorating her even more to stand up and to fight for young people. Our Stephanie Wade shares this powerful story.
I would take flowers and give them to parents at a funeral, never imagining when my son turned 20 years old that someone would be handing me flowers.
On August 21st, Crystal Gray received a call that her son, Kevin Ritchie Jr., had been shot.
My emotions are still kind of unexplainable. It's still shocking. It's still scary.
From what Gray understands, her son was mistaken to be somebody else and was shot in the 900 block of Edgemont Avenue on the near northwest side.
I understand that he expressed to that person that that's not me. That ain't me, bro. And the person still pulled the trigger and shot him.
As the country and world chant in the streets, Black Lives Matter to end police brutality, Gray is calling for an end to another kind of brutality.
We are fighting against each other, not the police against black people, not whites against black, but we're fighting youth against youth, young black youth against young black youth.
Saying we have to do better as a community and how little the regard is for human life.
We are killing each other and we're leaving blood stains on people's homes, in their communities, in the middle of the street. It has to stop.
Young men with guns, whether it be because of a lack of structure, community building, resources. Gray says we can point to many reasons as to why this is happening, but says we now have to find solutions.
I cannot allow myself to sit in my seat and someone else loses a child.
As someone who's sat on several boards before to help others in the community,
I know now this is my purpose. I can't run from it anymore. It's knocking at my front door, so I have to do something. And I plan on linking up with different people in the community to not try to find a solution, but find the best solution that will help us to stop having to bury our children at the age of 20 years old.
Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
Well, this case is still unsolved. If you have any information to bring this family closure and understand what happened to their son, call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. A Hamilton County church is using their platform in the community to fight against inequality. Recent protests over social injustice have led I-Town Church in Fishers to use ministry to educate and help their congregation to act as allies in the fight for change. WRTV's Troy Washington has their story.
We recently, all of us as a nation, have become more aware and more focused on the fact that we live in a culture that truly isn't as equal as we'd like to believe that it is.
But being a part of the solution is more than just saying things, it's about doing things.
That thought alone is what led Pastor Dave and Kate Summerall to dedicate an entire series.
Divided we fall, we're in this thing together, and this thing is called life.
To the cause of breaking the cycle.
Generationally, we have to break that cycle, especially as parents, and the different things that have obviously been ingrained in the children in the homes that create the imbalance racially that we see in the culture around us.
This church is trying to get to the root of the real problem plaguing America.
As we began to look across the landscape of our own church, we didn't have the diversity that would really reflect what heaven should look like. And so we began to systematically make changes that just very intentionally represent everybody from every culture and background so that everyone feels equally loved and celebrated.
It's a topic some church leaders have been shy about touching, but I-Town Church thinks the discussion is necessary to make sure progress prevails.
We began to examine not just American culture, but church culture. We realized that there are some things that just give certain people advantages. And unfortunately, some of those advantages come simply because of the color of their skin.
The series is about embracing our differences instead of using them to tear one another down.
Every single race has just different backgrounds, different perspectives, and different stories.
These two say it's important for us to acknowledge when we haven't walked in someone else's shoes.
I think one of the reasons why it's so important that we address this is because white people don't understand in America what it means to be a minority. We've never had that experience. And so what this environment has created is the opportunity for us to have conversations. That's one of the first things we did.
And the importance of acting as an ally.
I believe that heaven is going to be full of that diversity. I believe the body of Christ should be full of that diversity.
Because there's nothing better than just having an advocate in your life. And so, just like if there's a child being bullied, no matter the color of their skin, I want my children to come alongside that person.
And our nation desperately needs healing, and we desperately need change.
Working for you in Fishers, Troy Washington, WRTV.
As you know, rainfall amounts like this in a normal month, nothing to celebrate. But this month, this is a huge deal. I should be passing out free umbrellas to celebrate. We had 0.08 of an inch in Indianapolis. We just proved that it can rain again. We need anywhere from 3 to 5 inches to help us break our month-long, almost 2 months now, dry spell where we have moderate drought conditions in some spots. But you realize we're still 2 inches above average for precipitation for the entire year. Steady rain is in Ohio. The approaching showers trying to move from Illinois into western Indiana, I think they'll fade as the sun gets lower, and there it is, just above the horizon. Out in Putnam County, those showers will fade. Temperatures, they're in the low 60s now. We're destined tonight for the mid-40s. You'll wake up tomorrow morning, dry conditions, temperatures in the 40s. We'll focus on when we'll drop into the 30s coming up.
Community Health Network closed a Kokomo outpatient therapy clinic and a specialty hospital this past summer, resulting in the layoffs of 121 workers. We've learned some of those workers have been able to rebound thanks to a Carmel-based therapy company that aims to fill the void. WRTV Investigates Kara Kenny has been tracking this and shows you why the transition is key for the entire community there.
Community Health Network's Replay Clinic closed its doors for good on August 30th after 30 years in business. The very next day, Elite Therapy moved in, and days later, they opened their doors for patients.
I feel it.
Good.
Julie Howard is recovering from shoulder surgery, so physical therapy is a must.
Got it.
Julie is a patient at Elite Therapy in Kokomo. She's one of dozens of patients who transitioned from the Replay Clinic after it closed. Her therapist, Mert, is one of 17 employees hired by Elite after Replay shut its doors.
Huge, because continuity of care for me is everything. And, that's one of the reasons that, I switched to Elite.
WRTV Investigates reported in July, Community Health Network opted to close Replay and the Community Howard Specialty Hospital because of the changing landscape of healthcare and to best align Community Howard Regional Health Services to sustainably meet those needs both now and in the future. The closures came after Community Health Network received $218 million in federal relief funds. Replay's closure upset patients like Julie.
Oh, I was not happy. I wasn't happy at all because, here I am. I've been going here. I've had, Mert has been my, therapist. And I thought, now what am I going to do?
Elite Home Rehab and Healthcare is a Carmel-based outpatient and home care company with locations in Carmel, Logansport, Lafayette, and Kokomo. Owner Melissa Dickey says Elite was already doing home therapy in Kokomo, and when they heard about Replay closing, they saw it as an opportunity.
Replay was really the premier rehab facility in Kokomo. We wanted to make sure we could continue it and keep that opportunity to the community, so we thought we would come in.
Because the company does home care, they weren't hit as hard by COVID-19 as many outpatient clinics. Plus, Elite received some federal funding, which helped as well. As a result, they were able to hire half of Replay's former staff members, many of whom have decades of experience in physical and occupational therapy. Grissom, the therapy dog, made the transition and is still gainfully employed.
Having a therapy dog that kind of brightens up the clinic is such a huge thing. I've never seen a clinic that's had one before. And so when I met the dog and received the dog's resume, I was very excited that we could have that opportunity to provide that for the patients as well.
Physical therapist Michelle Nicholson was laid off from Replay after working there for 25 years.
I was shocked. I was really shocked by it. I knew I still wanted to be able to work in my hometown. I've been here since I was 4. The people in this town mean a lot to me.
Michelle says she and other employees were more concerned for the patients than themselves.
It was important to me that we were still able to serve our community. Sorry.
Michelle is grateful to Elite for giving her a second chance to do what she loves. Workers and patients say this transition is proof this community can rebound even when things get tough.
We're people who are very resilient. You know, I think resiliency is a big thing to look at here. I think aiming forward, during hard times.
Even though Replay closed its doors, Elite Therapy says they plan to be here in Howard County for the long haul. Working for you, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
A spokeswoman for Community Health Network says that they've also worked to find jobs for laid-off employees. Quote, "We worked closely with impacted employees to match as many as possible to other openings within the community. We have made every attempt to ensure that patients have a smooth transition to other quality care options within the community," end quote. It's one of the side effects of the pandemic that hits your nostalgia hard. Saying goodbye to another beloved staple still ahead when WRTV News at 7 continues. We are keeping track of the impact coronavirus is having on Indiana and the rest of the country. Today, the State Department of Health reporting an additional 879 COVID-19 cases and 11 deaths recorded between the 21st and yesterday. Indiana's 7-day positivity rate for all COVID tests has gone up slightly to 4.1%. The number of patients hospitalized with COVID-19 has also been increasing over the last week. The State Department's most recent count is 910 Hoosiers in the hospital with COVID-19. Tonight, the number of total COVID-19 deaths around the world is approaching 1 million. The United States has the highest death toll at 204,000. As some areas scale back their shutdowns, 33 states and Puerto Rico are seeing an increase in infections. Dr. Anthony Fauci is warning Americans to be especially careful as the weather gets colder. More people might gather indoors, and flu season is just around the corner.
Okay, I could try to hide this from you, but there's no hiding it. As soon as you step outside, you feel the difference from yesterday. We'll talk about when the coldest air arrives coming up.
We had a beautiful weekend with sunshine and warmer temperatures, and then Monday came, dropping the temperatures and bringing us some rain. The question is, where do we go from here? Here's WRTV Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory with the answer for you tonight.
And Mark, I got to admit, I was excited just to see the rain, to smell the rain, to listen to the rain. It had been a long time. Now, it wasn't a tremendous amount, but we'll take what we can get. We're probably dry until Sunday, so we start our new mini, hopefully, dry stretch. 59 in Muncie and 53 in Richmond, while the western portion of the state warmed up because sunshine came out earlier in the day. But Mark asked the question, where do we go from here? There's your answer. The cooler air to the northwest is what will dominate this week. You can see the yellows of the warmer temperatures along the East Coast, anywhere from Buffalo down into West Virginia and Atlanta, being pushed south and east. So our headlines would be much cooler conditions. It will be windy at times, especially Wednesday. Winds gusting between 20 and 30 miles per hour with the next cold front, which will drop our temperatures even more, and rain chances low until Sunday, and even then 30% chance. Tomorrow 63, the best day of the week, at least in sense of temperatures, will be Wednesday. We're warmer, but it will be windy. We cool back down to Thursday, the slight chance of a shower, northern portion of the state. Late this week into the weekend, temperatures will drop into the upper 30s Friday night into Saturday morning, and that cooler air, part of a pattern change that will stick around for a while. Tomorrow, I think Wednesday, even Thursday, we'll see more sunshine in the morning. Then as we start to heat up, we'll bubble up some cumulus clouds through the afternoon hours. That'll be a pretty typical pattern. It looks like the wind during the day tomorrow west at about 10 miles per hour. This is Wednesday's forecast. You see already kicked it up a notch there out of the southwest and then comes around to the west. 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts through the afternoon. That'll turn out to be a cooler wind as we get to Thursday. Temperatures during the day Wednesday warm into the low 60s. At noon we'll hit almost 70. I think some spots will hit 70 south of Indy for the afternoon high. There are the temperatures from north to south. Marion at 67, Petersburg in there at 68. Brazil and Clay County to Connorsville almost 70. Temperatures in the low 70s around Bedford and Seymour. And the temperature trend for those overnight lows goes down to rock bottom on Saturday morning. It's 38 in Indianapolis, but I think outlying areas will be cooler than that, which will mean patchy frost to start your Saturday. Temperatures both Friday and Saturday in the afternoon staying in the 50s. Will warm back into the mid-60s by Monday. The next best chance of rain, as I mentioned, that's on Sunday. Mark?
All right, Kevin. Another Indianapolis restaurant has closed its doors for good. The owners of Duos on Meridian Street say the economic impact of the pandemic was just too much to overcome. We were there as people stopped by for one final meal. WRTV's Megan Sanctorum explains why these owners say more small businesses could be next.
Last time, man.
This is the last time people will walk through these doors for lunch at Duos.
It is the best place in town to get vegetarian or vegan.
Located inside the International Medical Group building on Meridian, they built a strong base of regular customers.
I've made relationships. I used to work in the building, so from everybody back there, I've had a relationship with.
This has been one of my favorite places for so long. When I was pregnant with my child, I came here almost every day because it was the only food that tasted good to me.
But the economic impact of the pandemic is proving to be too much to overcome.
Day after day, you can't live on a quarter of what you did, and we were headed for our best year ever.
Big green salad. Becky Hostetter is a chef and co-owner of Duos. She says one round of government assistance wasn't enough. And she says the Paycheck Protection Program was not designed in a way to help restaurants like hers.
In order for a loan to be forgiven, that you hire as much staff as you initially had, but you don't have the sales to support that staff hiring.
She thinks local and state leaders need to step up and provide more relief options.
You got to be there for us. You can't separate the attraction and vibrancy of an urban area from the small businesses that make it so.
And she worries more small businesses will follow.
And I really think the lack of getting a second stimulus is going to devastate small businesses. And I mean, I'm not saying that like, oh, I'm a sad person who's losing their business. It's a reality.
It's really a shame for everyone, for the patrons, for the businesses, for the people that work there. I mean, it's just a sad situation.
We've always been a human people where we've learned to adapt, and so we have to learn how to adapt and adjust. But people need to work, and people need to make a wage and an income, and then especially off of something so positive and so good.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
Duos also had locations in City Market and Eskenazi Hospital. Both of those locations have closed for good as well. No word yet on what's next for the owners and their staff. We'll be right back.
Love the oranges in this sunset. You should grab your phone, take a picture of your TV of the sunset, and then go compare it to what yours looks like happening right now. The cooler temperatures today continue to slide in and headline the week ahead. 69 Wednesday, the warmest temperature of the week. Mark?
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you for joining us for our WRTV News at 7 o'clock. Up next here is The List. We'll see you back here tonight at 11. Have a great evening, everyone.